6 months ago, a woman named Margaret sat in that chair right there, weeping. She was 68 years old, from just outside of Columbus, Ohio. A retired schoolteacher, someone used to being on her feet all day, commanding a classroom. But when I met her, she was broken. Her knees had degenerated to the point where her orthopedic surgeon told her she was bone on bone. The pain was so excruciating that she couldn't manage the 3 steps up to her front porch anymore. She was practically living on her ground floor. The NSAIDs and painkillers she'd been prescribed were tearing up her stomach lining, causing ulcers, so she had to stop taking them. She looked at me, defeated, and said, "Dr. Thompson, my daughter is talking about assisted living. I'm going to lose my home because I can't walk." She was terrified of losing her independence. She was terrified of becoming a burden. Margaret didn't need more painkillers. She didn't need to be told she was just getting old. She needed raw materials. Fast forward to last weekend. I received a photo from Margaret. She wasn't in a wheelchair. She wasn't in a nursing home. She was on a dance floor at her granddaughter's wedding, dancing the foxtrot. How did this happen? It wasn't a miracle drug. It wasn't an overnight surgery. It was because we utilized a natural method that, frankly, 97% of my colleagues in standard Western medicine completely overlook. We focused on feeding her cartilage what it was desperately starving for. Today, I'm going to share with you the exact protocol I used with Margaret. I'm going to show you the 3 specific foods that support healthy knee cartilage and exactly how to use them. But before we dive into the solutions, I need to know who I'm talking to today. This isn't just for people in their 70s. I'm seeing this in office workers in their 40s whose knees ache from sitting all day. I see it in postpartum women whose joints feel unstable. If you are watching this and you're worried that your best physical days are behind you, I want you to pause for a second. Go down to the comments section right now. I want you to type in your age, and the one thing your knees are stopping you from doing right now. Is it gardening? Is it playing with your grandkids on the floor? Is it just sleeping through the night without aching? Type it down below. Let's see who is here. Thank you for sharing that. I read every single one. And here is what I want you to understand, and this is crucial. Your knee pain, your stiffness, that grinding sound, it is not an inevitable consequence of aging. It is not just bad genetics. In my experience, it is almost always a sign of a profound nutritional deficiency coupled with chronic inflammation. Your body has the blueprints to repair cartilage, but it has run out of the building materials. For those of you new to the channel, I'm Dr. David Thompson. I've been a practicing physician for over 30 years. I spent the first half of my career in emergency medicine and standard practice, watching patients get sicker while taking more and more medications. It didn't sit right with me. I spent the last 15 years dedicated to functional medicine, finding the root cause and using nutritional science to help thousands of patients, just like Margaret, stay out of nursing homes and off the medication treadmill. My mission on this channel is to help you live a healthy, independent life for as long as possible, using sound science, not trends. Now, how do you know if your cartilage is actively crying for help? It doesn't always start with severe pain. It's subtle. I want you to take a quick self-test with me. I'm going to list 5 symptoms. I want you to count how many of these you experience in a typical week. 1. Morning stiffness that lingers. You wake up, and your knees feel like rusty hinges. But pay attention to the time. Does it take more than 30 minutes for them to loosen up? 2. The movie theater ache. You sit for 2 hours to watch a movie or work at your desk, and when you stand up, there's a deep, dull ache inside the knee joint. 3. Crepitus. That's the medical term for crunching, popping, or grinding sounds when you squat or climb stairs. It sounds like gravel in a mixer. 4. Reactive swelling. After a slightly longer walk than usual, perhaps just an extra mile, your knees look puffy or feel tight the next day. 5. Weather sensitivity. You know it's going to rain before the weatherman does because your joints start throbbing as the barometric pressure changes. How many did you count? If you have even 2 of these symptoms, your cartilage is under duress. Go ahead and comment your number below. I scored a 3, or I have all 5. Why are these things happening? It all boils down to what I call the cartilage death spiral. Healthy cartilage is amazing stuff. It's slippery, tough, and acts as a shock absorber. It has no blood supply of its own. It gets its nutrients like a sponge, squeezing out waste and soaking up nutrients every time you take a step. But in our modern world, 3 things disrupt this. 1. Chronic inflammation. Think of this like a slow-burning fire inside the joint. It releases enzymes that literally chew up cartilage faster than your body can make it. 2. Oxidative stress. This is like biological rusting, damaging the cartilage cells, chondrocyte. 3. Nutrient starvation. We simply aren't eating the connective tissues and specific compounds needed to rebuild the matrix. The 3 foods I'm about to share address all 3 of these root causes simultaneously. They are not overnight miracles, but they are scientific necessities. The first food is perhaps the most important. It's something our ancestors ate daily, but we have completely removed it from the modern diet. It is the most bioavailable source of the very building blocks your knees are made of. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Dr. Thompson, that's just soup. No, it's medicine. Real bone broth, simmered for 24 to 48 hours, is profound. Let me tell you about Robert. He was 52, an accountant, and an avid runner. Running was his stress relief. But he developed what he called permanent runner's knee. It was sharp pain under the kneecap. He had to stop running entirely for 2 years. He was depressed and gaining weight. Physical therapy helped a little, but the pain always returned. I put Robert on a protocol centered around daily bone broth intake. He didn't change much else initially. After about 6 weeks, he noticed the daily ache while sitting at his desk was gone. By month 3, he was carefully jogging. Today, Robert runs 5 Burmese chots again. His knees aren't those of a 20-year-old, but they are functional and pain-free. Why did broth work when PT didn't? Because you cannot build a house without bricks. Your cartilage is primarily made of water, collagen, and proteoglycans. Think of collagen like the steel rebar in concrete. It provides the structure and tensile strength. The proteoglycans are like the cement that holds the water, giving it bounce. When you simmer bones, tendons, and ligaments from chicken or beef for a long time, you break down their collagen into gelatin and collagen peptides. You are also extracting glycosaminoglycans, GAGs. These are things you pay a fortune for in supplement bottles, like glucosamine and chondroitin sulfate. When you drink this, you are consuming these compounds in their most digestible form. Studies suggest that these collagen peptides act as signaling molecules. They don't just get digested for energy. They travel to joint tissues and stimulate your own cartilage cells, chondrocyte, to start producing more collagen. You are essentially sending a memo to your knees saying, "Start building," while simultaneously providing the bricks to do it. This isn't folklore. A landmark 24-week study published right around 2008 and replicated many times since in journals like Current Medical Research and Opinion, looked at athletes with activity-related joint pain. Those given collagen hydrolysate, the active part of bone broth, had significant improvements in joint pain while standing and walking compared to the placebo group. The science shows it supports the extracellular matrix of the cartilage. Practical guide: how to use it. You cannot just buy a stock cube and expect results. That's just salt water. The recipe: you need grass-fed beef soup bones or organic chicken feet/carcasses. Put them in a slow cooker. Cover with filtered water. Add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This acid helps leach the minerals from the bone. Simmer it low and slow. 24 hours for chicken, up to 48 for beef. It should gel like Jell-O when cold. That wiggle is the medicine. That's the gelatin. Dosage: I want you to aim for 8 to 12 ounces daily. Golden time: the best time to drink this is first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. It signals repair before you start loading the joints. It's also wonderful as a warm nightcap to support healing while you sleep. I want to ask you, have you ever tried making real bone broth? Not the box stuff, the real deal? Let me know in the comments if it's something you do, or if the idea intimidates you. If bone broth provides the bricks to rebuild, our next food acts as the security system that stops the vandals from destroying the building in the first place. Not just mature broccoli, specifically the 3 to 5 day old sprouts. I want to share the story of Sarah. Sarah was only 32. She came to see me about a year postpartum. After having her baby, she felt like her body had aged 50 years. Her knees felt incredibly unstable and painful, especially when kneeling to pick up her child or carrying the car seat. She was experiencing postpartum depletion and high levels of inflammation. Sarah wasn't ready for intense dietary overhauls with a new baby. We added one thing: a small daily container of fresh broccoli sprouts. It sounds too simple to work. But within 6 weeks, Sarah reported that her morning stiffness had reduced by at least 70%. She felt stable again going downstairs. This is where nutrigenomics comes in, how food talks to your genes. Broccoli sprouts are the most potent source on Earth of a precursor compound called glucoraphanin. When you chew these sprouts, an enzyme called myrosinase transforms glucoraphanin into the magic molecule, sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is incredible. It acts on a pathway in your cells called NRF2. Think of NRF2 as the master switch for your body's internal fire extinguisher system. In arthritic or damaged knees, there is an overproduction of nasty enzymes called matrix metalloproteinases, MMPs. These enzymes act like little Pac-Men, eating away your cartilage cushion. Sulforaphane turns on the NRF2 switch, which floods your cells with antioxidants and, crucially, inhibits those MMP enzymes. It stops the degradation process at a cellular level. It doesn't just mask pain, it slows the biological destruction of the joint. Mature broccoli has this, but sprouts have anywhere from 10 to 100 times more concentration. Research published in journals like Arthritis and Rheumatism has examined sulforaphane's effects on osteoarthritis. These studies have shown that sulforaphane blocks the enzymes that cause joint destruction and reduces the inflammation associated with cartilage breakdown. It's powerful, protective medicine. Practical guide: how to use it. This is tricky because the magic is easily destroyed. Raw is non-negotiable. You cannot cook broccoli sprouts. Heat destroys the myrosinase enzyme needed to create sulforaphane. They must be eaten raw. The crunch factor: you must chew them thoroughly. The act of chewing mixes the precursor and the enzyme together. If you just swallow them whole, you get very little benefit. Dosage: you don't need much. About half a cup, or a small handful, daily is sufficient. How to eat: toss them on top of a salad, put them in a sandwich, or just eat them straight as a quick, medicinal snack. They have a spicy, radish-like flavor. Have you ever heard of sulforaphane before today? It's one of the biggest breakthroughs in nutritional science in the last 2 decades. Give me a yes or no in the comments. We have bricks for building. We have security to stop destruction. Now, we need something to put out the chronic fire of inflammation that makes your knees swell and ache. Linda is perhaps my favorite success story regarding this. At 71, Linda was scheduled for total knee replacement surgery in 3 months. The pain was constant, a 7 out of 10 daily. She was frightened of the surgery and the recovery at her age. We had 3 months. We put her on what I call an omega loading protocol. We used high-quality sardines and wild salmon almost daily. 2 weeks before her scheduled surgery, Linda called the surgeon and canceled. Her pain had dropped from a 7 to a manageable 2 or 3. She said, "Dr. Thompson, I still have bad knees, but I can live my life again. I don't want the metal knee yet." That was 4 years ago. She still hasn't had the surgery. The magic here lies in the omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, and DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. Most people today are inflamed because their diet is too high in omega-6 fats, from processed seed oils like soy and canola, and too low in omega-3s. This imbalance creates a pro-inflammatory state in the body. Your knee joints become a focal point for this inflammation. When you consume high amounts of EPA and DHA from fish, these fatty acids replace the inflammatory fats in your cell membranes. They act similarly to NSAIDs like ibuprofen, blocking the COX-2 pathway that creates pain signals and swelling, but they do it naturally, without destroying your gut lining or risking your kidneys. Furthermore, these healthy fats act like internal lubrication. They help keep the synovial fluid, the oil in your joint hinges, thick and protective. The data on this is mountain high. Meta-analyses published in premier pain management journals have consistently shown that high-dose marine omega-3 fatty acids significantly reduce patient-reported joint pain intensity, reduce morning stiffness, and even reduce the need for NSAID medications in people with rheumatoid and osteoarthritis. Practical guide: how to use it. Source matters immensely here. Wild versus farmed. You must choose wild-caught salmon. Farmed salmon is often fed grains and soy, making it lower in omega-3s and higher in inflammatory omega-6. It defeats the purpose. The sardine secret: if wild salmon is too expensive, buy canned sardines packed in water or olive oil, not soy oil. They are wild, cheap, low in mercury, and packed with EPA/DHA. Dosage: aim for 3 to 4 servings per week. We are trying to shift your body's entire fatty acid profile. Combination note: these are fats, so they absorb best with fat. If you are having a leaner piece of fish, have some avocado or olive oil with it to maximize absorption. I know sardines are polarizing. Are you a sardine lover or a sardine hater? Be honest in the comments. Bone broth to rebuild the matrix. Broccoli sprouts to defend against destruction. Fatty fish to extinguish the inflammation. Margaret, Robert, Sarah, Linda. They aren't genetically gifted. They just gave their bodies the respect of providing the right tools for the job. If you take anything away from this video, let it be this: your body knows how to heal. Even at 50, 60, or 70, your cells are constantly turning over. But you have to stop feeding the fire of inflammation with processed foods and start feeding the repair process with these potent nutrients. A gentle warning, however: this is not a 24-hour fix. Cartilage has a slow metabolism. You didn't damage your knees overnight, and you won't fix them overnight. You need to commit to these foods consistently for at least 90 days to really see what your body can do. Consistency is the medicine. Do not accept pain and decline as your inevitable future. Take control. If you found this deep dive helpful and you want more science-based protocols for aging independently without relying on drugs, please subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell. My next video is going to tackle the 3 biggest mistakes people make when trying to exercise with bad knees that actually make them worse. You won't want to miss that. Until then, eat well, move mindfully, and take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live.